What's going on, Skill Army? Mr. Skillman, back to you again. Hey, tonight we in the booth, just getting some relaxation time in. Had a hell of a day. Been working on a few projects. I just want to, reach out and just say, I'm still trying to put this channel stuff together. So, at the end of the day, I got to get something recorded. In time, the do-it-yourself projects and some of the missions, especially the fishing trips, they'll come together. I went fishing this past Saturday. Today is a Monday. I just went fishing this past Saturday, and I was in some beautiful territory. I tried 2 different lakes. The bite was a little slow. I went to try to catch some bass, and I took my little GoPro with me, and had about 30 takes on there. And when I got back, I didn't shoot nothing but the shoreline. It was terrible. So I'm still figuring that out. Just a setting, it's gonna come. I gotta build like some custom mounts and stuff for my boat and whatnot. But what I want to talk to y'all about today, or what I want to share, also keeping in mind that this is just my little sliver of virtual diary. And this past weekend was Super Bowl. I went over some kinfolk's house and some friends and got an invite out there. Some of my OGs and stuff and whatnot, and had a blast, man. Had great hospitality, you know what I'm saying? Enjoyed hell of a game. Halftime show was on point. I was hating on Usher because I'm just like, man, nobody want to see Usher, but me and Usher about the same age, so and he doing good. That boy in shape, so you gotta respect that somehow. He's still performing, still looking good, singing good, able to hit the step. You know what I mean? So hell of a halftime show for the most part. Great game. I'm not really the biggest football fan. I'm really not a fan of too many spots. I like pretty much like anything that's just a good contest. I like to see guys going head to head and playing at a high level. But while we were there, honestly, I was wearing my little Trump shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really a secret if you know who I am. I'm definitely more of a conservative type of guy, and I'm raised right. So I mean, it is what it is, and I vote. Prior service member. I personally know what it's like to fight for this country. I know what it's like to see people die for this country. I know what it's like to pay taxes. I know what it's like to be hit with taxes. I know, me personally, I just feel like anybody in their conscious mind, especially if you're African American, should really, at least have some kind of baseline knowledge of what the leadership's like. And while I was at the Super Bowl party, this shirt right here draws a lot of attention. It's got Trump on there, and it's got also Candace Owens. And Candace Owens is what I consider a positive representation of black women who stand on principle and are able to articulate and express themselves and speak very well and do the work and are disciplined and just she's just a smart girl and she's politically savvy, and I think she'd be a great representation. And I know there was an interview between the two of them at one point, and they were kind of throwing hints that if Trump was to win, that he would take her on, or possibly take her on as vice president. And I think that would just be a momentous occasion. But so this shirt gets a lot of attention. Honestly, I don't think it's a shirt; it's a shirt on me. And I just went over, to my friend's house, and there was a young lady there, a black young lady. Honestly, I don't think this young lady was my age. I just feel like she couldn't be. And if she wasn't my age, then based on some of our conversation, there's a whole bunch of couldn't be's that I just know better. You know what I mean? But anyway, so she makes mention of Candace. Oh, I like Candace, and she didn't even really tell me what she liked about her. I said, I like her too. She's smart. She's assertive. She does the homework. Like, in my opinion, it's kind of hard if you don't like Candace. It's hard not to respect her. So she's a very respectable woman, especially a respectable black woman. And this young lady basically was like, she said, well, I like Candace even though I'm not Republican. And I was like, well, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I was, I'm, kind of meandered around a little bit, and it's cool. I like to have real grown-up conversations. I want to talk about. We don't gotta get too deep in politics, but I want to know about how your sentiment. How do you feel? Like whether you like something or not. Like pick a side. I'm fine with that. Like I got mad respect for just those who stand firm on what they believe, even if they are the enemy. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get it. That's a whole nother conversation about respecting your enemy. But anyway. she said, I like Candace, but even though I'm not a Republican. I said, well, who did you vote? You vote? She said, well, I vote. I was like, okay, well, she was like, well, clearly you vote Democrat. She was like, yeah, I vote Democrat. And honestly, I know it's a sensitive topic. I know how I am. I don't know. Some people look at me like I'm just like I'm gonna, walk up on them and stab them in the throat with a spoon or something. Like I'm just so intimidated. I don't consider myself an intimidating guy. I'm very assertive. Yeah, I carry myself pretty much high stature. I might look a little nutso sometimes, but I think I'm more like a gentle giant. But anyway, I didn't want to intimidate. I know I was amongst certain family who honestly, couldn't even vote. You know what I'm saying? And they don't give a damn about politics, but they like spending money. They like going to make money. They like the American dream. All of them are, what I would consider somewhat, successful. And it's just hard for anybody, once again, I hate to harp on, especially African American, that has even touched any ounce of what, the pledged American dream would be, home ownership, raising a family, going to university, things of that nature, dealings with the military, anything, people are quick to get benefits and quick to take on different programs, but they don't know what those programs are about. They don't know what they're original. They don't know what they really stand for. They don't know, what kind of sacrifice were made to put those programs in place. But if it has a price tag on, they can get money, they can get leverage somewhere, they can get benefits. They will, but they'll still, in my opinion, vote for the wrong side. So anyway, it was just burning me up. So I said, so what side do you vote for? She's like, well, I'm a Democrat, and I voted Democrat. And I was like, why? And she said, I don't know, because I was raised that way, and my heart sank. I get that we are raised all sorts of different kind of ways. Like, I'm blessed to have both my parents. I had a pretty stable household at the time. In the era I was growing up, my parents were kind of workaholics, and they were American dreamers. They did their thing, and they came from poor families and worked their way up. And I'm gonna be quite honest. My family came up under the guidance of being raised or under in a democratic type of mentality. They vote Democrat. Even though they were out there, making a way for themselves. Even myself, in certain capacities, years ago, I voted Democrat. And I think I watch Anton Daniels sometimes. He's a pretty dope dude. He's super consistent, man. Very successful brother out there, man. I look up to him, man. I watch his show. He regardless if you like somebody or not, man, the consistency, the discipline, people doing the homework, man, you gotta raise it out of that. You know what I mean? So big ups to Anton, and he mentioned it one time. He said, and I feel like anybody who's in America that's out here working, who is counting their dollars, wants to be successful, wants to be able to retire, wants to be able to have like real good healthcare, wants to be safe and secure in their streets, wants their kids learning proper things in school, and having more control over their life, would eventually kind of fall into a more conservative, or what people would coin as a Republican mindset. I don't get it. And if you're African American, I feel like if you don't even, you just either choose not to do the homework, you choose to stay a slave, you choose to stay ignorant, you choose to turn a cheek like to the wrong thing. Like, has anyone ever seen that movie, The State of Jones, with Matthew McConaughey? Like, I love that freaking movie. It kind of depicts like the trials of the times, and how the parties were being formed and things of that nature, and how the Republican Party really was the party who abolished slavery. Like, they wanted to really have freedoms and less government, and people that can really do the American dream profile and things of that nature. And I don't think many black people quite understand that. Like, they don't understand that overall the Democratic Party is really what's fucking shit up. You know what I mean? And because I feel like everybody just wants it soft. They just want it given to them, and that's just not it. But anyway, that movie's a good depiction. Like, and I feel like you should at least educate yourself. You should at least pick a side. Like, I don't know everything about politics. I know what happens when I get there, and if I lean on it, at least somebody say, well, why did you vote this way? I can say, well, I like these views. I don't think about open borders. You're people in their feelings too much. Like, you mean tell me, like, you let anybody come in your country and stand next to you? They don't get, like, as Americans, they are filtering everything we do. If you go get a credit card, you gotta put your life on it. If you sign up for some website, you gotta put your life on it. If you want, trying to, even, they got us twisted out here trying to, in the capacity of dating worlds and all kinds of stuff. You gotta put your life on. Even then, people don't even give you a chance. They want to investigate you through your Facebook page and investigate you through your Instagram and investigate you through somebody's cousin or something stupid. Meanwhile, you got strangers, stranger danger, motherfucker. You got people just waltzing into your country. We cannot go to any other country and do that. None. It makes zero sense. But anyway, so this young lady was like, I vote Democrat. And her answer, even after she thought about it, I was like, well, you were raised that way. Like, you didn't even tell me how you was raised. And you just said, I was raised that way. And all I could think of is, well, I was raised a lot of ways too, but you should know better. Like just because you raised the way, that ain't the way. You don't. And I'm like, just stay out of the fight. Just stay out of it. Don't go cast a vote when you just don't want to willy-nilly vote. That's not helping nothing. It makes zero sense. I wasn't tripping the fact that she was Democrat. I wasn't tripping the fact that she might believe in some views, or she didn't express those views. She didn't have an argument or a debate or a stance or a word on anything that was democratic or why she voted. She just said, well, I was raised that way. And I was just like, I was torn because there's just way too much information and too much going on here in the world now where you could be raised away. That's like saying, well, when I was raised, man, my mom ruled with an iron fist. My mom used to beat my ass. If I got in trouble, you name it, switches, extension cords, spatulas, shoes, especially them little fuzzy flip flops they like ninja stars. Y'all ever got beat with the thing that control the blinds? They take the little stick off the blinds. Come on. Like, picking switches, braid them up, all that. But I was raised that way. And I don't whip my children. You couldn't dare do it now. So I mean, that's almost like saying, well, I identify as a freaking butterfly or something. You could just, it don't make no sense. That's like, if you accept saying that, and let's just say, if you run into a situation with, you're dealing with someone of an opposite race, whether, just use a white person example, or, because this was a black young lady who had mentioned this to me. So it's okay throughout history for white people to continue to have, hatred towards people of darker complexion for the sake of them being raised that way. It's okay for me to accept rape if I was under some type of statutory rape as a child, or I was molested, or I was abused physically, and because that's how I was raised, that's okay for me to, I can just use that willy-nilly. My uncle was a player and a pimp and a hustler, and my other uncle was a scammer and a jack boy, and my auntie was a hoe and setting up dudes, and my grandma ran a numbers house and whatever. So if, let's just say that happened in your family, that's okay. Or my father was a crooked politician, or just, it can go all the way. I know I'm using some fucked up examples, but it's no different than, hey, my father went to law school. He was a lawyer. He has 3 degrees, and that's him. So I don't have to go to college just because he went to college. I don't have to, kick my dog just because they teach you how to, you need to kick that dog. No, we're not doing that. Like, we don't have to do that. That's a terrible excuse. A terrible fucking excuse. Just stay out the fight. Just leave it alone. I can respect somebody standing on the side. I really can. But I can't respect, like, what, I could not continue the conversation. I felt little. I felt terrible. I didn't want to get into it. And then, if, your dude and some other friends, they kind of, everybody will thought, well, it doesn't matter. The president can't do anything, this and this. I said, look, I get it, man. But look, whether you got Congress, you got the Senate, you got your president or whatever, and it may go back and forth. It does take years for things to pass and whatever, but it matters. It matters, people. It matters. I just think that too many of us turn a blind eye to even just our currency. Look at what our currency is doing. Look how much you're getting taxed. You know, like look at inflation. Look at the migrant crisis. Look at healthcare for seniors. Look at situations for veterans. You mean to tell me just because you was raised that way? Come on, man. We gotta do better, man. We gotta do better.